math problem solving. Okay? So what is, so kunting tiyaga na lang guys ha. What is the net force? Like this. Okay? And then exerted. Wow! Exerted on the moon. Nakakaloka. In Jupiter, how many moons in Jupiter? Based on your knowledge. Because each planet has its own maximum number of moons. And then the Earth, God provided only one moon in the Earth. Except for the Earth, how many moons in the Jupiter, in the Uranus? You should also know that sometimes, because sometimes also theories questions will be also like that in science. You will be asked, how many moons in Pluto? Nga. Example lang. Okay, nakakaloka. What is the net force exerted on the moon? Oh, M is equals to, that is planetary science. So I think we can also budget time for that, for another topic. I will not mix planetary science here because it's physics and we have also environmental science. Okay? I will make that environmental science to be the last topic to be discussed because you know, this is very historical for me and because I take my master's major in environmental science in University of San Carlos. Though I did not finish that one, but I love that course also. Okay? Like that. So that's why that will be my final, final talaga. Actually, paawit. Diba? On the moon n is equals to 7.35 times 10 to the 20. What's this? 22 kilogram. Okay? Like, and then by the Earth, then ganun chupa-chuchu. Okay. Wait guys, di pa ko nag-physics. Okay? But you know, since I have no choice, right? 5.27 times 10 to the 24 kilogram. Okay. Like this. And the sun like that. By the way, guys, in the social media, they are keep on arguing which is difficult, physics or chemistry. And then others saying physics. Okay? Others saying also chemistry. Okay? And we don't have the same idea. Okay? Because for me, chemistry is a little bit difficult to physics. Because physics is only physical. Meaning, it doesn't involve molecules, particles, in which we are trying to imagine in a smaller perspective, just like looking that in a microscope, something like that. So it's not very easy to study in which you don't see in your eyes. Okay? But if you try to connect that with civil engineer, everything they study, they can see in their eyes. The concrete, the cement, the bridge, the steel bars, the nails. And mechanical engineering also, they can see the stationary equipment, the rotating equipment, the parts of the machine. It's easy for them to analyze the efficiency of the machine and the mechanical advantage or the performance of a machine. And now if you're also talking about industrial engineering, and it's easy for them also to complete the accountancy part, accounting. And then for electrical also, they can see the cable, okay, the diode, the resistors in their labs, the battery, the galvanic shell, something like that. But it's not true in chemical engineering. Okay, we cannot see atoms, we cannot see protons, we cannot see positron, we cannot we cannot imagine those chemical processes by our wild imagination only. You get the point? Something like that. Sometimes we get lost, okay? Because we cannot really dig. We cannot really dig what's that all about. Okay, for example, atomic particles, subatomic particles, subatomic particles, and there's still too much smaller than the atoms, smaller than the ions, and we need still to study that. Okay, you get the point? That's why I said chemistry is difficult than physics, in my own opinion. Okay, something like that. Okay, and the sun is, what's this? And in chemistry also, you have to familiarize the 218 elements. Okay? And then in physics, you don't have to memorize that. What I mean, you don't have to memorize everything about periodic table, but you need to understand really the behavior of the elements, characteristics, properties like that. And then it's not easy to do that because in a single element, there's a lot of properties there. For example, iron, okay? So many, and there are 218. So if you try to memorize everything, you will also get lost. Okay? But in physics, a little bit easy. Okay? Because it's only motion, and as you can remember, right? Physics is a branch of science that deals with the study of matter and energy. And what that is matter all about? Matter is anything that occupies space and has mass. Something like that. And what are the matter? The matter, there will be solid, liquid, and gas, plus the energy. Ganun lang. There's no rate of chemical reaction, there's no Arrhenius equation, blah, blah, blah. There's no Fourier's law of conduction, there's no fixed law of diffusion, okay, there's no Bernoulli theorem of fluid flow, there's no Euler's equation, there's no Pascal's law equation, there's no PV in RT or the general gas law by Clausius-Clapeyron equation, there's no also second law of heat energy, which is the Sadi-Carnot cycle in thermodynamics, right? In first law of thermodynamics. So that's why I said physics is a little bit easy for me compared to chemistry. Okay? And you can also attach chemistry to others also. For example, biology plus chemistry, that is biochemistry. O, ganon, di ba? Di ba? See, physics and chemistry is physical chemistry. You always attach the chemistry. Meaning to say, this is the parent science of all sciences. You get the point? Oh, ganon siya ang hitabo. Okay, ana-ana siya. Okay? So, like this. And then physics also doesn't study substances. But chemistry studies substances. So we study what we eat, what we drink, the chemical reactions in our body, so that we will become strong, to maintain our vital organs, to have a better metabolism. So we need to understand the calories, the inputs of our waste, during catabolism, anabolism, and different protein synthesis. So, you know, it's too much. But physics doesn't touch in our internal study of the anatomy. Only chemistry, because our vital organs will never survive without chemistry. If there's no substances, if there's no rice, water, and these things are all chemistry. It's not physics. Okay? So that's why I tell you that chemistry is more broad than physics. Okay? Because energy lang naman siya, matter lang siya, pero wala man siya mo touch atong mga nucleic acid, mga ganon, ribonucleic acid, deoxyribonucleic acid, the DNA, like the DNA test, the RNA test, ganon, mga hormones. That's part of chemistry. That is health chemistry or clinical chemistry. Okay, chemistry is not focusing only with the physical process in the plant, in the industry. Chemistry also will be in the clinic, in the hospitals, in the medicines, in the health, in the pharmaceuticals. So overall, in the petroleum industry, in the oil and gas. But you can never apply physics in some industries. Don't tell me you will compute the gravitational force, the friction, all the time in the hospital. Okay, you will compute the, what is the force done, what is the work done. You cannot never, you always have chemistry there. The blood sample, that's already a chemical composition of your hemoglobin, the plasma, like that, and the leukocytes, phagocytes, mga ganon, mga white blood cells, to avoid leukemia, the cancer chronic disease in which your white blood cells is higher than your hemoglobin red blood cells. So, problem also. Okay? So, those are chemistry of your blood. Okay? So, it's really chemistry that matters a lot. And also in the planet Earth, it's also chemistry. The oxygen we breathe, the nitrogen we breathe, the urine we have, compost also. There's no physics there. Right? Meaning we can survive without physics, but we can never survive without chemistry. Ganon. Okay. Yun ang sa kong laliso na nasa social media ron. Okay? You got the point? Ganon siya. Okay. So, MS, the sun, the mass of the sun, okay, is 1.99. See? We are talking of the sun, ganon. This is physics, right? Ato yung hilabtan ang sun, ang moon, na turbo to dito sa universe. I can survive without touching the sun, the moon, blah, blah, blah. Okay, kaloka. Oh. Diba? Ganon. But if you will never drink water, which is a composition of hydrogen atoms and oxygen atoms, which is chemistry, then you will never survive, you will die. Okay? So we need to say, without chemistry, you will die. Enchanted? Yes. With the gravitational force. Especially if you don't have vitamin C, which is ascorbic acid. The chemical composition of vitamin C is an ascorbic acid. Okay? Then carbon atoms, hydrogen atom, oxygen atoms, so still chemistry. Okay? So you will heal your disease through also chemistry because medicines are made up of different substances and chemicals as well. The organic compound. Ganon. It's not physics. So you keep on debating on the comment section of the social media that physics is more difficult than chemistry. For me, it's not. Okay? Sa kuwan palang daan sa Van der Waals equation, you need to compute the behavior of the non-ideal gas. You should find the correction factors of pressure, correction factors of your volume, plus the intermolecular interaction of the molecules. Na mabuang dyan mo guys. You need to compute the intermolecular interactions of the molecules, na ganon. You need to compute the intramolecular structure of the London dispersion forces. In chemical substance, makabuang din siya guys. Okay? Nakakaloka. Okay? I think it would not be enough really if you want to become a full-fledged chemist. 5 years or 4 years is not enough. If you try to go to the details, okay, of everything, the theory, the computation, that's why it's really designed to have a masteral and, you know, what do you call this one? Higher than the degree, like a doctorate degree, PhD. Because you can never finish that only for bachelor. There's a lot pa talaga siya to expound. Okay? If you try to get the total package of this science. Kalaki pa na siyang physics. Okay? With the gravitational forces. Gana-ganan. Okay? With the gravitational forces. Nakaloka. Okay. Okay. Gana-ganan. Gravitational forces acting. Okay, on the moon. But if you try also to read some books of chemistry, I will tell you something. Okay? Sige maglalis ng chemistry or physics, hindi maghuman na at right angles to each other. Okay? Angles of each other. Ganan. So, na siya distance of the moon to the earth, nakakaloka. Okay? Pila man siya mga kapatid? 3.84 times 10 to the 8. Nakakaloka. Distance of the sun to the moon. 1.492 times 10 to the 11. Naku, paano kaya i-measure ito ng mga scientists natin sa yung mga distances sa moon, sa earth? Diba? That's too huge. Okay? So, grabe sila ka-bright. So, we need to say, older people are more intelligent than new people. What I mean, because we are still using their basic concepts until now. All over the world, universities and institutions are still using the concepts of chemistry, physics, and sciences from the past. So, we need to say, wala pala yung mga bagong mga scientists. That we need to remove the obsolete theories and try to have our own in our millennium stage, in our new era. We are just developing and modifying through various discovery of our new technologies, but we don't have originals. Theories coming from our brain cells. We are just dependent of Newton, scientists, Mr. Ohm, Mr. Le Chatelier, okay, Johannes Kepler, Isaac Newton, Michael Faraday, John Maxwell, Nern Simon, okay, Sadi Carnot, Lucius Clapeyron, like that, Pierre Marie Curie of radioactivity, okay, Charles Goodyear, Alexander Fleming. Alexander Fleming is this, a scientist who discovered penicillin. Yes, it's gonna be like that. Okay, Jules Presley, Henry Cavendish. Henry Cavendish discovered hydrogen. Okay, something like that. And then we have also the Haber. Okay, Mr. Haber discovered ammonia. Okay, the Haber process reaction, then you can produce fertilizer in a particular chemical reaction. Okay, and then we have also the Leblanc principle of producing a brine solution of salt and the water. So it's also a contribution of Mr. Leblanc. So there's a lot, right? So we need to take in a notebook, maybe our notebook will be full. Something like that. All the theories and concepts of different scientists. And now, who are our scientists now? 2022, 2020. We're just developing, right? We are just dependent to the past. So I could say that older people are genius than the present people. Get the point? Imagine they don't have technology before, but they come up with this kind of theories and concepts. They have lack of resources in the first place. They don't have cars. They only ride in a camel. Something like that, from walking to Egypt, to Jordan, to Babylonia, or in the Persian Gulf, something like that, through barefoot. There's no car. Okay? But why they discovered these things? Meaning to say they are more genius than us, right? The present people in the planet Earth. See, I am discussing, but the one I discuss coming from Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein, we don't have new. O, diba? So, if we have new, only correlation from the older is also the same. See? So, it looks like obsolete already, right? Okay, so how can we do that? Nakakaloka. So, I need talaga. So, if I am given a chance to invent, this is only in my wild imagination. If I try to invent a car that is multitasking, meaning to say a car that will fly at the same time, that will go also in the sea at the same time, but only one machine, it will be good because it could be original. There's nothing who discovered and invented that kind of machinery that could fly at the same time, it could run in the land at the same time, and it can also travel in the sea. O, diba? Multitasking, okay, type of equipment. So there's no like that. So what if we train our younger generations to create a thing or an experimentation that is widely used, unique, something like that, that is not copied from the past. Okay, and then all you have to do is to develop the scientific theories and come up with the most amazing discovery that is not introduced yet in the world. Right? There's no equipment like that. Okay, that is a car. At the same time, it will act also on an airplane. At the same time, it will also act as a boat. Oh, by the time it will become an airplane, the wings will spread out. And if you come to the land to avoid traffic, then the wings will compress, and it will go to the sea also. It will be like that, and it will be digital by using a remote control only. Time ko, di ba? Ang saya ng world. So we don't need bridges anymore for the traffic issues. We will just fly. If there's traffic there, I will use my remote time. Fly a little bit with an altitude of 2,000 kilometers, and then going there's no traffic. I'm going drop now to the land. Why? Because in the land it is more interesting to look at the view. You can see the plants, you can see the animals beside the road. So the world is very beautiful if you will see the interaction of the living organisms, the people in our ecosystem, the infrastructures, the beauty of our nature. Compared to riding in an airplane, you can only see the sky. What's that? You cannot see creation, you cannot see a bird, you cannot see a structure. So that's not wonderful, right? Compared to traveling in a land. That's why that kind of equipment will be also traveling in the land, traveling in the sky, traveling in the sea. Because in the sea also we can see different mammals and animals in the sea, or aquatic kind of species. For example, the what goes one? The dolphin, like that. Then the seahorses. Different kinds of fishes, nakakaloka. O diba, whales, W-H-E-L-E-S, the whales. What else? So many, right? So many sea creatures or sea aquatic living organisms. Okay? Ganon. So it's beautiful rather than flying only. Okay? So nobody doing that. So I think we're gonna train our people to our younger generation to invent something new rather than going to the to the cell phone. They're just playing the game, which is not a reality. Because the point, they are just playing the games. It is not reality. What they are trying to enjoy is their eyes. They enjoy, right? And after that, it will develop cancer due to electromagnetic wave radiation. Okay? So it will have disadvantage, health disadvantage effect compared to researching a scientific discovery, and the government will support you for your scientific research, and it will be the whole community will be using your scientific research, a collaborative scientific research, meaning collective effort, not only you. Okay, and then you will, the government will finance you for the particular study. For example, making, ganun di ba? Making a gasoline out of water. Ganun di ba? Example ulit. Right, creating power by using an alcohol. Because alcohol is not expensive. Another also, creating, creating a sugar out of soil. What? Anything! Because that is wild imagination, right? You get the point? So, ganun siya. So, mabuang tagnahon na. Okay, ganun. Okay. So, what is the net force exerted on the moon? The moon has a mass of 7.35 times 10 to the 22 kilogram by the Earth. Then the mass of the Earth is 5.27 times 10 to the 24 kilograms, and the Sun mass also is 1.29 times 10 to the exponent 30 kilogram, with the gravitational force acting in the moon are at right angle of each other. Kaloka? Diba? Hindi na masud guys. Gamit na di ka akong nakuan. Whiteboard. So, may nakuan ni chart. Nakakaloka. Okay. Atong iyag-yag ang mga masses. Okay? So, ano na lang. So, mass of the Earth. Ano lang mass of the Earth? Sa'yo naman. Mass of the Sun, 1.99 times 10 to the 30 kilogram. Okay? Mass of the Moon. Wow. Really? Mass of the Moon is 7.35. Dili pa lang na kagbabuang, di ba? Because the masses of the heavenly bodies are being put in the problem. Okay? 22 kilogram. Okay? And then, what's the distance also? It's here already. And then compute for the gravitational force acting on the moon at a right angles of each other. So this is the F net. F net force in terms of the angle of inclination, meaning at a right angle. Okay. So in this alone, the theory of Pythagoras theorem will be applied. Because this is a law of right triangle. The Pythagorean theorem is exclusive only to the law of right triangle. Because there are different types of triangle. Isosceles triangle, obtuse triangle, mga ganon-ganon. Okay? Complementary triangle, whatever. Okay? There's a lot, right? Okay, so this is only limited to right triangle. Not the acute angle also. Or equilateral triangle. Equilateral triangle, the three sides are equal. That's why equilateral triangle. Okay? So you will review your trigonometry to solve this problem. Or trigo, or analytic geometry, right? Something like, oh, it's gonna be okay. I will erase now. Okay, yeah. It's gonna be like that. I will erase now here so that I can solve. Okay, time sheet brought to you with powdered Alaska milk. Okay, na 6.3 W rock. Ganon. Okay. Diba? Okay, so here it is. Okay, so this is the sun here. The sun is the center of the universe according to, Nicholas Copernicus. Something like that. And then we have also the moon here. Okay, the moon here. Blah, 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 so and so. Ganon. Okay. And then we have the earth here. Now let's compare the gravity, comparative analysis of each gravity among the sun, the moon, and the earth. Which is higher gravity? The sun or the moon? If you cannot answer by common sense or by understanding, by thinking, you can use the formula. That's the second option, huh? Okay, so which has higher gravity, the sun or the moon? The moon or the earth? So basically, by common sense, it's the sun because it's bigger than the moon. If it is bigger than the moon, then the radius is higher. Right? Ganon. So let's prove that by equation so that we can prove our theory. So gravitational force is equals to G times N1, N2, like so and so, and then radius squared, right? And then we have the sun here. Okay, the mass of the sun is 1.99, right? Here. 1.99 also here, ganon. So what is your force of gravity? Unknown. Now for your moon is 7.35 times 10 to the 22. It's lesser. So what will happen for your gravitational force? Ganon. So question mark. Ganon. And then your earth is, so the earth that has 5.97 times 10 to the 24. So as you can notice, the sun has a highest mass of all. So if it has a highest mass, would it mean that it has also a higher gravity? So you have to question yourself why. Then take note the formula, the relationship. Take note of how it is being placed in the numerator, in the denominator. Like I say, we have the gravitational force. The gravitational force technically is directly proportional to your mass. See? Because the mass also is in the numerator. So if the mass of the sun is too high, then normally your gravitational force also is very high. So we need to say the gravity of the sun is higher than the gravity of the moon. Right? Yeah. And then the gravity of earth is higher with your gravity of the moon. So the moon really is lighter. Okay? Lighter. So it will matter in your direction where to put the arrow of your force of gravity. What did I say? The gravity of the sun is higher. So meaning to say, the moon will be directed going here to the left because the sun will pull the moon because the sun has a higher gravity. You get the point? It's not directed away. So the sun will pull the moon because the sun has a higher gravity. So the arrow will be like this. Okay? Ganon. Get the point? So it is directed to the sun. Now, in terms of the moon and the earth, what will happen to the gravity? Since I said a while ago that the mass of the earth is higher than the mass of the moon, then it will be directed going to the earth. Okay, ganon, di ba? Ang moon, like this. Ano yan? Like this. Muna siya ang moon. Okay, ganon. Diba, if you try to look this in a clock, you know clock, C-L-O-C-K, the clock, a bigger watch. Diba, a clock is a big watch. Just like teaching preschool students, class, the clock is a big watch. Diba? So like this. So it's gonna be like this. What will happen to your arrow here? It will go to the clockwise or counterclockwise. Now think of it. If it is having a higher mass, then your direction of your arrow will not be going to the right, it will be going to the left. Will it rotate because it is higher? It will be going here. Ganon, not here. Okay, you get the point mga palangga kang hitad. So meaning to say mga palangga kang hitad, since we are referring to the circular path, then it will yield a positive gravitational force. Positive. Because it is going to the counterclockwise ba siya? Here? No, it's not. Clockwise. Going there. It's clockwise, right? And then, here is also the counterclockwise. Here. The sun. Oh, diba? Ganon. So, ang sun and the moon possess a gravitational force in a counterclockwise, so this will become positive. Oh, diba? So this will positive gravitational force of the sun and the moon. Ganon. And then the moon and the earth, we will go there clockwise because the earth is having a higher mass. Nangangubalik siya dito. Bukat na siya. So, ato siya pa dito. Okay, it's gonna be like that up. So, it's gonna be like this. So, that's gonna be a negative. Okay? Kaya mo padong mo siya dito sa left. Ang left sign negative yan siya. Okay, so it's gonna be negative. Ganon-ganon chuba-chucho. Gravitational force of the moon and the earth. So, this is now your F net. Okay? Like that. So, solved individually, the gravitational force between the sun and the moon minus the gravitational force of the moon and the earth. Okay? Now, take individually the gravitational force as per component here. So, do this individually now. Okay? How can you do this? Fg, Su. S means sun. Okay? And M means, no, M, moon. Like that's gotta be G, ganun. So, when you look at the masses of the two objects, look at the drawing. Is the sun and the moon involved? So, you will say, mass of the sun and mass of the moon. Like that. Over the radius square. Meaning, the radius of the moon going to the sun. Here. It's mentioned in the problem, the sun and the moon. It's here. So 1.492 times 10 to the 11 meters. You need to scrutinize one by one, cross-examine the drawing according to the given, something like that. Okay. So this is your equation 1. Okay. What is your equation 2? Will be the gravitational force of the moon and the earth. So it's gonna be M-E is equal to the gravitational G. Then the mass of the moon here, see? And the mass of the earth here. So mass of the earth over the radius squared. And the radius here is his. The moon and the earth and also the moon and the earth. So this is 3.84 times 10 to the 8 meter. Ganun siya. So muna yung substitute diary is equation 2. Ganun. So substitute on and then the values will be put here in the F net. Meron na siya yung F net. Okay, ganon. So how can we do this? I will remove the drawing because we already understand, right? Okay. So we have to save space. Ay, nakakalog. Gamit ko space akong whiteboard ko eh. Hindi ko mag-enjoy. Charot! So, FGSM. SM is not show mart or supermarket. This means sun and the moon. Okay? FGSM. Sabi mo sa mga SM City Cebu, SM City, Makati. It is sun and the moon. Okay? Is equal to the G 6.67 times 10 to the negative 11 chuba chucho. Okay? Times the mass of the sun. How much? This one. 1.99 times 10 to the 30. And then the mass of the moon, which is here, right? 7.35 raised to the power 22. And then the radius of the moon and the sun, it's here, right? Moon and the sun, 1.492. So 1.492 times 10 to the 11 raised to the power 2, because this is radius raised to the power 2. Okay. And then the other one, FG, and this is gonna be the moon, earth, ME. So this is not mechanical engineering, but this is moon, earth. Okay. So it's gonna be like your G is 6.67 Okay, times 10 to the negative 11. The same because this is constant. And then the mass of your moon. Every time you substitute values, you will refer to your subscript. Okay? So, the mass of the moon, pila? Oh, 735. Ano lang siya? Times 10 to the 22. Okay? So at least your eyes is working very well here. Because if your eyes are not in good health condition, you are blurred, you will put the wrong number. Problem. You will be wrong. Okay? Earth. So 5.97 times 10 to the 24. Over the radius of the moon and the earth, we have here, right? So 3.84. So 3.84 mga palangga. Kung hitad, ganon. Raise to the power 2 gihapon siya. Okay. Now, since you are doing this in detailed fashion, like that, chuba chuchu, okay, ganon. Okay, and then, ganon. Let's review the figure because it's huge. This is a huge exponent. Okay, I will erase. I need to erase mga palangga because again, I have a limited whiteboard. Okay? Like this. Okay. Now, compute by using the scientific calculator. Ganon. I have here a scientific calculator Cashew Model FX 991 ES Plus. As I look in the, in the approved scientific calculator of the PRC, Philippine Regulation Commission, this is not allowed. They are having only the standard brand of scientific calculator to be used in the board examination, engineering board examination. Okay? Something like that. So, 1.492. Maybe this is more complete. That's why they don't allow this to use, right? Because they want that so many will fail rather than so many will pass because of their title. The word regulation, meaning to regulate. Again, Philippine Regulation Commission. So if they will never regulate, so the title of their agency is useless. So their function is to regulate. That's why they need to make a question that is not easy to answer right away. It involves critical thinking, it involves a tricky type of question like that, and use a lot of terminologies which are not common during your classroom instruction so that it will trick the students and examinations so that they cannot get the answer, so that so many will fail because they try to regulate. Okay? Muna siya purpose sa regulation. There's no regulation that will try to enhance or to increase the level. It should be curtail. Wow, curtail, meaning you have to dwindle the results. Dwindle, curtail, reduce, lessen, minimize have the same meaning in English vocabulary. Okay, you should also master the different terminologies when increase, upgrade, intensify, enhance, improve, like that. Okay, raise. Okay, so these are the same, to increase. Okay, and then also to decrease, to reduce, to minimize, to curtail. Okay, to lessen, to dwindle. It's just the same meaning. Okay, ganon. Okay, so like that. So 1.49 like this. Okay. That's why students, I advise you to join journalism in your high school so that you will be trained to understand more about English terminologies, the vocabularies, and the grammar when to apply appropriately, including also your speaking capability, how spontaneous you are in delivering the message, and how to convey the message effectively to your audience. And then you need to remove the stage fright. Stage fright meaning the fear of facing spectators. Spectators also the same as viewers, audience, or witnesses. The meaning is the same also. Okay, there are a lot of spectators watching the rhetorical contest inside the auditorium. Ganon. So meaning to say, spectators are just equivalent to the viewers and the audiences. Okay, meaning the attendees who are watching the particular competition. Ganon. Not only referring to the academic competition, also for the sports. So we are familiar for that because we are also trained how to make a sports writing article before in journalism. There's a lot kasi yan, ano kasi guys, you are trained how to make a poetry, a literature, something like that, an editorial, like that, a caricature, a photojournalism, like that, but that is not my expertise. Okay, and then the feature, like that, writing, sports writing, ganon. Okay, slogan, how to make a slogan, like that, so and so. Okay, and of course, my favorite is a writing competition. Okay, that's my favorite really of all. Second na lang na siyang mga editorial, ganon. Okay, disclaimer ha, that, you know, before I joined the regional editorial competition, I went in the Cebu, right? And we represent our school to another level. Okay, editorial is really for me because, you know, it is more on factual and not too much wordy or sugar-coated words, meaning direct, something like that. Because sugar-coated words, too much decoration in your adjectives, pronouns, or description of your sentence, the subject and the predicate are more on the feature writing, something like that. Okay, that's why I always comment the, you know, the Rappler, something like that, the GMA 7, like that, the ABCB, and I think they are not doing the good code of ethics of being a reporter and a journalist because they create biases. Because once you are in the journalism, you should be neutral. That's the first code of ethics of being a journalist in idealistic point of view. Okay? But if you are trying to be partial meaning bias. Impartial is not bias. Okay? Like that. Or it's just the same as if you are having the prejudice. Okay? Prejudice meaning you are biased also. Okay? Like that. So impartial is also biased. Partial is biased, but impartial is not biased. Okay, ganan. Nakakaloka. Okay, mga kapatid ko hitag. Okay. Saan naman ako nangihiga yun, ah? Okay, let's go! Numbers! Numbers na naman. Nakakaloka. So 1.492 exponent to the 11 raised to the power 2. Okay, 2.22. Nakakaloka. 2.22, nakakalula. 226 times 10 to the 22 exponent. Oh my gosh. Okay, 6.67 exponent to the negative 11 times 1.99 exponent to the positive 30 times 7.35 exponent to the positive 22 is equal to, divided by 2.226 exponent to the positive 22, and your answer will be 4.38 exponent to the 20. Wow! So 0.438 exponent to the 20. Here, we should remember the sign, huh? When I illustrated this before, remember the sign. If it is negative and positive, it matters a lot. Okay? Wait. And then, we have the moon and earth, like this. So far, guys, this kind of problem did not came out in our board examination before, in 2000. Okay, like this. 3.84. We don't have like this problem as far as I could remember. Okay, but for the purpose of discussion, maybe it will come out in your time, then it will be better, right? 8. Oh, by the way, congratulations to Cebu Technical University, Cebuano, top number 6 in the Civil Engineer Board examination. And also the University of San Carlos, top number 8. They are all Bisaya. Okay, in the recently concluded May 2022 Civil Engineers Board examination in the Republic of the Philippines. Thank you so much. Congratulations, mga Cebuanas. Okay. Hindi mo magpalupi. Charot lang. Okay. So 3.84 exponential to the 8. Okay. Guys, the CTU are performing very well. CTU, Cebu Technical University, because the recent also top number 1 in the education is also a product of Cebu Technical University main campus. This is the CSAT before, CSCST. Okay, in the Santo Niño, in the Cebu City. Their education is turning to be quality. Okay, this is a state university. Okay, funded by the government, and they are most of them also are scholars. This is a public school. No, not really totally public school. A little bit of public school, a little bit of private. It's in the mid because the tuition fee is not very high. The same with Cebu Normal University, the tuition fee is not very high. So these are state colleges and universities funded by the government. So they are very good now, really, guys. Okay. So if you love to study in city, then you can do. Imagine from education to engineering. So engineering is completely not the same as education, but they also excel in another disciplines, right? Maybe they have a quality education. Okay? And also the University of San Carlos, okay? Standard talaga siya sa Cebu. Okay? I think they are the number one in Cebu. University of San Carlos. Okay? So, it's gonna be like that. But, disclaimer lang po, if engineering talaga siya, CIT University, but I'm talking about the whole courses. Okay? Because not all the time na we have top-notchers in engineering, there are also times nothing, but most of the times have, but sometimes there are no. But what I'm trying to emphasize, all kinds of courses like that. Okay? So, ang USC talaga ang top number one. So, 3.84 quality education, because when based on only also my history, please forgive me, mga mentors na ako sa CIT University. Sorry kayo, I have to tell this the truth. Okay, when I was in third year taking up my BS Chemical Engineering in CIT University, and I planned to transfer in University of San Carlos. Okay, and then I was shocked because the units of chemistry are not the same. The University of San Jose Recoletos and the CIT University, that is not a university before the CIT, right? The math units and the chemistry are not high. But in San Carlos, the chemistry is 5 units, like this. Really, not the same with CIT and USGR. The number of units are higher. So I cannot easily transfer because I have to still to study back again. Because we have 3 units, and then San Carlos have 5 units, so I need still to cope up, and then my scholarship will be destroyed. I will be going back, right? So I decided to continue lang talaga siya in CIT University. Anyhow, it depends on the students. Because my purpose at the time, because I love the science of, USC. They have a very rigid training in science and technology, especially chemistry and physics. As I told you, I'm not that very good in math. Okay? So, but CIT is very good in math. Okay? You get the point, because that is the tradition of excellence of CIT University, the math, all kinds of math. But the USC is science talaga sila, guys, and I love science too much. Especially experimentation in the laboratory. Ganun dito kailang mga kuan, ito sa bukid-bukid, ito ka dito, grabe kailang mga analysis, ganun, quantitative analysis. Okay? So, grabe sila, kaya funded man sila sa Netherlands. Okay, international ang ilang structured sa ilang science sa University of San Carlos. Oh, sorry ha, I'm just telling the truth. Okay. Kailan di ka bias, di ba? Kailan sa kayo. Charot! So, 3.84 exponent to the 8 raised to the power 2, ganon. 1.4. That's why also, that's the reason also I take up my master's degree in the University of San Carlos, but unfortunately, I did not finish. Okay, 1.47 times 10 to the 17. Okay, like this, ganon. Okay, ganon. 6.67 exponential to the ganon, like that. Okay, ganon, ganon, ganon. Ciao. Exponent negative 11. Okay. Times 7.35 exponent to the 22 times 5.97 exponent to the 24, like this. So, ano siya natabo? 2.92 times 67 times 10 to the 37. Okay, something like that. Okay. Like this. Ganon. Ilan mo yung mga palangkapitan? Divided by 1.47 exponent to the 17. Ganon. Oh, 1.990. Guys, we have the same exponent, 10 to the 20, so it's easy to subtract if we have the same exponent. Right? So now, recall the direction in your illustration. You have here the sun, okay, the moon, the earth, and since the gravity of the sun is higher, like that, blah, 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 so now it's going to the left, meaning to say, the gravitational force of the sun and the moon will be negative. So this is negative 4.38. See? Because the gravity of the moon will be directed to the sun. Because sun is higher, having a higher force of gravity. Now to the moon of the earth, also directed here, right? Like this. Okay, and then it will rotate somewhere along the way. And then it will be going to the top, so it's going to be positive. Okay? When it rotates, it will produce a positive direction because, wait mga palangga, yeah. Okay, like this, like this, like this, okay, ganon. This is positive 1.990. Okay, so you will say, again, so muna siya makalimutan sa guys ang science niya, but again, review. Okay, going to the sun, ang ganon, di ba negative? Okay, left man or negative. Then going here to the downward is negative also. Because I am taking the linear direction only. Because there are two types of direction again in theory. We have the linear direction and we have the rotational direction or orientation. What are the linear direction? That is the front, back, left, right. You don't have to circulate. The circulation, rotation, and revolution is a orientation or rotational direction. Okay, now that's the time you need to consider clockwise or counterclockwise. Okay, now if you use now the rotational direction, I forgot that this topic pala, rotational direction we need to consider, not the linear. That's why at first I'm confused. Okay, so let's use the rotational. Okay, so if this is gonna be like this, the moon and the earth will go to the clockwise. So clockwise is positive, right? So this is positive 1.990. Positive like this. Okay. Oh, no, negative. Ang clockwise ko eh. Diba? Negative. Okay. And then, ang counterclockwise will be your positive. Kaya anak na siya sa yung direction. Why? I'll tell you why. Because, take a look. If this is a counterclockwise, he will go to the left, to the right. And the right has a positive sign by linear rotation. Right? And after that, continue to circular motion, he will also go to the top. And the top also has a positive direction. That's why counterclockwise has a positive sign. This is only my own understanding. It's not explained in the book, but this is only my common sense understanding. I don't want also to get the same view with me, but that's what I understand. That's why the counterclockwise will become positive. Now for the clockwise, just like a clock, that's why it's considered clockwise because it follows the direction of the clock. Okay? Now, if it is a clockwise, it also go to the left. Rotation. So, negative. Here, when it reach the 180 degrees plane, this is 180 degrees plane here. Okay? And this is, the whole clock is 360 degrees. And the half of it is 180 degrees in trigonometry. Right? Now, if it is negative, it will reach 180 degrees and then bottom, again, going to the top. And then, okay, and then it will become negative. Okay, this negative na siya. Okay, downward siya, going to siya sa left. So, negative siya. So, clockwise, negative. Counterclockwise, positive. And this is the principle of rotational motion and angular motion. For example, a centrifugal pump, something like that, that will rotate in its motion when they produce the energy. It can produce, for example, 45 horsepower, something like the rating of the motor pump, something like that. So the energy has its own motion. Of course, that's kinetic energy. Take a look with the formula of the kinetic energy. There's a velocity there. Meaning there's a motion. The motion there will be basing on the, the rotation. The clockwise is gonna be negative. Counterclockwise is gonna be positive. So if you try to have an analysis here, or analogy, a comparative analysis. So meaning to say that your sun and moon here will be your, okay, sun and moon, so meaning to say, directed by siya word here, so meaning to say it will become your negative. Okay, ganon. Negative. Ganun siya. Ang imong clockwise ang negative. So, ano mo siya pagsuwat? Ano na? F net, ganon. F net, okay. So you will say that it is going to the, okay, see downward, negative. Okay, downward na siya. So, negative 1.990 times 10 to the 20. Okay, now, counterclockwise ang sun of the moon, di ba? Okay, panlong mo siya dito, ganon. So that is positive 4.38 times 10 to the 20. Okay, this is your F net. Is in positive. Okay? Okay, minus plus plus positive man siya. Okay? Diba guys? Any questions so far? And again, 1.99 negative. We will not carry the sign already because it's this exponent, because we have the same exponent 10 to the 20. So, ano din siya? Negative 1.99 plus 4.38. Ano siya? So, 2.39. So, it's gonna be positive 2.39 times 10 to the 20. Subtract directly the figure only, or the numerical value, because we have the same exponent. Okay. Now, this is rotational ha. Kung linear siya, kung sama sa kanyang kuan, sa linear siya, so it should not be linear because it's already a 90 degrees. Okay, the right triangle, right? So it could not be linear already, but let's assume that it will go there. So it's gonna be like here negative also. So negative 4.99. This is going to the left. Okay, so this is gonna be 438 times 10 to the 20. And the other one will go here. So it's gonna be positive, right? Ganon. So positive, let's say value o dra ikadlo. Okay, 1.99 times 10 to the 20. So, ang answer po na ito, ano yan? Negative. Negative siya if linear motion, positive if rotational motion. And we will go for the rotational motion because this is 90 degrees angle of inclination, meaning subject to circular motion, not the linear. Okay? That's the point. Ganun siya. Rotate din siya. Mga palangga kong hitan. Ganon. Okay? So, now, if you are confused really in the actual, so take a look with the signs, very important ha. Okay? Ano kaloka? Katong mga angular mo na siya. Okay? Like that. Okay? And then, wala din kayo pa naman answer, guys. Kaya, di ba, nakadraw naman kang right triangle, Pythagorean theorem, dayon. Paborito ko na akong Pythagorean theorem, eh. Ambot! Okay? So, ano na yun? Buhat yung F net, dari ari. F net, pwede pangita. Ano na yun? O, diba? Okay? So, kami siya, ano rin siya? F net is equal to, let's do first the standard formula of Pythagorean theorem. Ano man ang Pythagorean? C squared is equals to A squared plus B squared. C is the hypotenuse, the diagonal, equivalent to your F net. So F net raised to the power 2, right? And now we have A. A is the, if you have the angle of inclination here in the horizontal angle theta, and then if you also have the angle in the vertical, this is the angle phi. Okay, something like that. You can assign different angles if you want. Okay, for the purpose only to have difference. Let's say I have angle theta and angle phi. So let's use the theta because this is Pythagoras, right? So this is your A. Ganon. And this is your B. Your A is the base. Okay. A is the base and B is the height. Okay. So meaning to say, tangent theta is equals to the base A plus the height B. Now, A will be your gravitational force of the sun and the moon. Okay? And then your B will be the gravitational force of your moon and the earth. Now, this is your equation 1. Now, in here, there's a given, and you can find for the angle of theta here. But our question is asking for the F net. It's not the angle of inclination. We're not concerned with the angle of inclination for the purpose only of discussion. Okay? Get the point, mga palanggakong hintad. So we have the A. Oh, what is the A? So gravitational force of the sun and the moon. Oh, gravitational force sun and the moon raised to the power 2. Ganon. Plus B. What is the B? Muna siya ang gravitational force of the moon and the earth. So gravitational force of the moon and the earth raised to the power 2. Since both are raised to the power 2 in math, what you will do? Rule in math. If all are having exponent, we need to multiply that to a certain fraction so that it will be cancelled out somewhere along the way, the fractional form. Okay, now we need to do this raised by 1/2. Multiply by raised by 1/2. So 2 times 1/2 is equal to nothing. Tama ba? Di ba nothing siya? So, hindi lang ito anaman para kita mag-isod. I-litsun lang naman ito siya F net. Okay, 2 times 1/2 man siya, F net. Ang 1/2 is also square root. Okay, F net is equal to the square root of gravitational force of the sun and the moon raised to the power 2 plus gravitational force of the moon and the earth raised to the power 2. And this is your F net. And we have the value of the gravitational force na talaga siya. Okay? Ito nakuha galing na itong 4 point something. Right? 4 point something raised to the power 20. And now, take note, mga palangga that is negative. Okay? Negative, right? And then, for the moon and the earth, nakasabi ka itong 1.9 and chupa-chucho. Substitute that here. Negative times negative is equals to positive. So it doesn't matter when you square that one because it will also be a positive. Negative times negative, positive. So it doesn't matter when you square that out. It will become positive. So your F net also will be here now. So pila man ito akong FG. Okay, ganda na chuba-chucho, diba? Okay. So 2.39 ng mga palangga kong hitad. Ganun. So 1.99 exponent 20, ganon. So, 3.96. Exponent pa man siya. 3.96. Exponent. Okay, nakakaloka ka mga kapatid kung hitan. Times 40. Okay? Plus, ang kani siyang 4.38. 4.38 exponent to the 20. Ganon. Okay. 4.38 exponent to the 20. Ganon. Equals to. Okay? Then plus 3.96 exponent to the, what's the siya guys? La 40 sure ka 40? 1.99 exponent to the 20, sure ka? Yeah, 40 talaga siya. Ano sa, okay, 4.38 exponent to the 20, and then ganun. Okay, then minus, plus, 96 exponent to the 41. Okay? Ano na yun? Okay? Dali na kayo siya guys. Uy, nakakaloka. Dali po, derivation. Okay, nakakaloka. Okay. So, 1.99 exponent 20. Basta exponent kayo ba? Makalagay na exponent kayo. Pinito na yun, nakakaloka. Diba? Okay? So, okay po. Akong gi-review because huge exponent. So, maybe marong ta. Diba? Sa na lang. Charot. So plus 3.96 exponent to the 40 is equals to square root pa rin siya mga palangga ha. So we have 4.8 raised to the power 20. ang atong Fnet. 4.81 times 10 to the 20. Okay. Now, we don't have the same answer with our Fnet if we try to subtract it in a linear way. Okay? This is rotational Fnet. This one. Okay, why? When it rotates, okay, common sense also, when it rotates, there's a lot of gravity. Because it will be going downward. And then coming up also, going downward also like this. So it will develop a constant gravity in a circular path. Whereas in a linear, it is not constant. It will stop after there in the forward. It will stop after the backward. It will stop after the left, after the right, like this. So meaning to say, the difference of your gravitational force is less than with your rotational. Okay? Ana-ana lang siya pagsabot. Okay, you get the point. You get the point mga palangga. So, ang Fnet sa Pythagoras theorem is the real answer, not the linear. I'm just showing to you also the linear for the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the problem will be multiple choice, then you can extract where is the correct answer. Okay? Sometimes also it's gonna be like that. There are two answers based on your computation, and then the other one is not mentioned in the choices. Then you will answer the one you are computed. Like this. But the problem only in that situation, if the two is there, it needs already common sense and analysis in the theory na. Because both of your solution is correct baya siya, guys. You are following the correct way of solving baya siya. Okay? And then, in the choices, ang duha to added to. So, ano yung pag-solve sa answer? Unless siguro if the letter C will say both A and B. Like that. A, B, C. Pag-abot sa C, mukha na siya. Both A and B. D, none of the above. Ganon. You get the point? So usually alam mo ng mga choices. None of the above, all of the above, both B and C. Ganon. Ang kanang na both, panagsara kayo na siya. Okay? But kasagaran din na siya all of the above. Okay, but to tell you frankly, I have also answers none of the above. If I will feel that it's not in the choices, and then if I convert also again, it's not in the choices. Because sometimes they have the get the unit already in the choices, but your calculation is still not the same unit in the choices. That's why you need to convert again. But what is really, what do you call this one? Tricky is this, they also put the same figure. For example, like this. So this is what I noticed in the board examination. Okay, something like, for example, I already computed in my answer, which is 4.2 kilogram baron. Okay, this 4.2 kilogram is here in the first unit, but the unit is not kilogram. Let's say 4.2 grams. Okay, and there's no 4.2 in the choices. Okay, B, ganon. Different unit. Like this, 4.2 kilogram also. C, feet, in feet, ganon. So, usually, if you take too fast in your solving, you will tend to answer letter A because it has the same value. Okay? But actually, it's not 4.2. You have to convert that to become kilogram, something like that. And 4.2 kilogram is not the same as 4.2 gram. Okay? Ganon. Then you have to convert. Okay? Into grams or pounds, something like that. But if we see directly the same numerical figure, we will answer directly. But don't forget the unit. It matters a lot. Okay? But sometimes also, there's no unit. What is the force in Newton? And the choice will be 4.2, 4.3. Because it's already mentioned in the question that it's in Newton. Like that. Okay, magbibog ka. Ganon, because you... Basta? Nakakaloka. Mutulig gamay akong score sa general engineering tungkol aning math. Okay, nakakaloka. May galing mabitan. Praise God! Nakakaloka. Okay. Nakakaloka. Thank you so much for watching on this video. I hope you like this, guys, like this. Okay. Thank you so much. Guys, before I end, I will share with you the score of the civil engineer is 93.60 is the top one. But our top one in the May chemical engineering is only 84 point something. And the civil is 93.80. So it is expected that our examination is very difficult compared to civil engineering. Again, disclaimer, because I based only with the top one. Our top one is 84 something, which is from the University of San Carlos, Cebu, sa chemical engineering in May. Okay? And then this one, civil engineering, again from Cebu, top number one, civil engineering, but the score is very high, 93.80. So we need to say, the, the coverage of chemical engineering is difficult compared to this civil engineering by looking at the percentile rank. Okay? Disclaimer based on the number only. Okay? Get up on, maybe bright na dito ito siya, makakuha siya 93.80. We don't know also. Okay? But generally, we can say in this way because of the, the scores attained. Okay? You get the point, mga palagakunitan. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you like this. And you can share and you can comment down below in the comment section. And then you can subscribe my YP channel if you're not subscribing yet. And you can click the notification bell for some news. I'm a senior agent of the company, guys. Okay. Thank you so much. God bless everybody. Don't forget that Jesus loves you. Thank you so much. Bye bye. God bless. Nakakaloka. Bye bye bye. Nakakaloka.